I was standing in front of a house I thought I'd grow old in, holding a suitcase that suddenly felt heavier than it should have when I realized the locks had been changed. Not broken, not damaged, just replaced. Clean. Intentional. And right then, before anyone spoke a word, I understood something deep in my gut. Whatever story I thought I was living, someone else had already rewritten the ending. A dark SUV rolled up behind me like it was part of a rehearsal. Out stepped my husband, Ethan. Calm, relaxed, almost cheerful. Right behind him was Vanessa, the woman he'd told me was just a consultant, followed by her parents already looking around like buyers at an open house. Vanessa glanced at me and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Why is she still here?" Ethan didn't even look at me when he replied, "She won't be for long." Yeah, that actually happened. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't ask for an explanation. I just stood there because tucked inside my coat was a folder he didn't know existed, and the truth has a funny way of waiting for the right moment to step forward. For years, I thought stability meant safety. From the outside, my life looked fine, even enviable. Big house in a quiet neighborhood. Comfortable income. A husband who was respected, the kind of marriage people assume is solid because it doesn't make noise. But what no one tells you is that silence can be engineered. And comfort, when it's controlled by someone else, can slowly turn into a cage. Ethan liked to say he handled the complicated stuff. Finances, paperwork, decisions. Whenever I asked questions, he'd smile and say, "You don't need to worry about that, Claire. I've got it covered." And for a long time I believed him. Not because I was naive, but because trust feels natural when you're building a life with someone. You don't question gravity until the ground disappears. The house was always his favorite symbol of control. He called it his house from day one. He gave tours. He signed documents. I paid quietly, transferring money from savings I'd built long before we married, contributing month after month while convincing myself ownership was less important than peace. He loved words like simplicity and efficiency. They sounded harmless. They weren't. Over time, conversations became conclusions. My opinions became inconveniences. Nothing was loud. Nothing was dramatic. That's how it works. Control rarely announces itself. It settles in slowly like dust until one day you realize you're breathing it. Then came the trip. "I'll be gone for a while," Ethan said one night, barely looking up from his phone. Business expansion. Meetings. When I asked how long, he shrugged. "As long as it takes." No discussion, no reassurance. Just a statement. He seemed lighter than usual, almost relieved. "You'll be fine," he added, and it didn't sound like comfort. It sounded like instruction. The house felt hollow after he left. Too quiet. That's when little things started to surface. A bank notification about restricted access. A utility account suddenly changed. Mail addressed only to him. Nothing alarming on its own, but together they told a story. I stopped reacting and started paying attention. Then the voicemail came. "Hi, this is Vanessa. Ethan mentioned you. Just wanted to say hello." Her tone was confident, casual, like she was already stepping into a role she believed was hers. I listened twice, then deleted it. That was the moment it clicked. This wasn't an affair being hidden. It was a replacement being prepared. I started writing things down. Dates, amounts, names, conversations. Not because I wanted revenge, but because clarity is power. And if Ethan thought my silence meant weakness, I was happy to let him believe that. While he traveled, his grip tightened. Accounts locked. Appointments rescheduled. Invitations stopped arriving. People spoke to me like I was already on my way out. Once at a fundraiser I'd supported for years, someone leaned in and whispered, "I heard Ethan's starting a new chapter." I smiled and excused myself. That's how erasure begins, not with shouting, but with agreement. Vanessa's mother texted me one afternoon. "I hope we can handle this transition with maturity." Transition. As if my life was a project timeline. Ethan finally addressed it during a call. "I'm reorganizing things. It's just easier this way. Let's keep it clean." He wanted compliance without conflict. Silence that looked like acceptance. I agreed. Not because I believed him, but because I understood leverage. What he didn't realize was that I'd already met with an attorney, a quiet man named Robert Hayes, who listened without interrupting and said something that stuck with me. "You're not being cheated on," he said. "You're being displaced." That word explained everything. We stopped thinking emotionally and started thinking strategically. No confrontations, no verbal promises. Everything documented. Everything deliberate. I let Ethan continue because confidence makes people careless. The truth about the house was never simple. Yes, his name was on the title, but the down payment came from my separate funds. The mortgage was paid mostly by me for years, and the amendment he relied on referenced an agreement that was never finalized. He had assumed control. That wasn't the same as owning it. Timing mattered. I worked quietly with a broker. No listing signs, no gossip, just clean paperwork. Ethan, meanwhile, spoke openly about renovations and future plans, already narrating a life that didn't include me. Then he crossed the line. He sent an email copying Vanessa and her parents. "Claire has agreed to move out by the time I'm back." He spoke for me. That was the moment everything moved forward. The sale closed before he returned. No drama, no spectacle. I packed only what mattered and left the rest untouched. The night before his arrival, I locked the door, left the keys and documents on the counter and walked away. When Ethan arrived with Vanessa and her family, they were smiling, confident, already claiming space. The key didn't work. The code failed. Through the window, he saw the envelope. His phone buzzed. Sale confirmed. "This is impossible," he said. It always sounds impossible when assumptions collide with reality. The property manager arrived. A patrol car slowed nearby. Vanessa's confidence drained. Her parents went quiet. Authority evaporates quickly when it's built on belief instead of fact. Ethan called me furious. "What did you do?" I said calmly. "I followed the law. That's my house." "No," I replied. "It was an asset. Now it's not yours." I ended the call. Silence finished the job. The aftermath wasn't loud, it was procedural. Meetings postponed, accounts reviewed, questions asked. Vanessa left. Her parents withdrew. Ethan's influence thinned not dramatically but steadily. During mediation, he spoke confidently. When it was my turn, I presented facts. The mediator nodded. "This portion is resolved." That was it. Today, my life is quieter, but it's mine. My time, my work, my choices. I didn't win by destroying him. I won by seeing clearly and acting deliberately. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it arrives through patience, preparation, and the courage to stop participating in a story that erases you. So tell me this. Was I wrong, or was I just done playing a role I never agreed to? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever watched someone underestimate the quiet person in the room? And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.